Well, we can't fault these people. And being pro melanated, yes, I am. But I cannot fault white people for looking out for white people. I can't fault Hispanic people for looking out for Hispanic people. I cannot fault, whatever. But in America, the concept that we grew up in, this is the difference between us and other countries.
Absolutely.
If shit hit the fan, I don't give a damn if it's, a white family trying to board a train to get to safety. Where's your passport? Okay, you are a citizen of America. Get
Correct.
the hell out of here. You see what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Correct.
If it's a
That's when it
Hispanic
comes first
family,
come, first serve.
yes. And when we get down to the nitty gritty, what pisses me off is that we're seeing people fly these flags for Ukraine, knowing this kind of racism, anti-black racism, is ingrained in that country just 2 years after the summer of "We care about you, black people." You see what I'm saying? Just two summers after this, and now I drove through downtown this morning, downtown Charleston, and you had the American flag up top, you had the state flag in the middle, and at the bottom you had the Ukraine flag. And people were cool with this. And I'm like, wait a minute. We don't live in Ukraine. So it's kind of like, we know the anti-race or the racial rhetoric that they have over there. Just this past week, the chief prosecutor says it bothers me to see Europeans with blonde hair and blue eyes being killed by Russian bombs. Whoa. Is that not, that wasn't dog
clear-cut racism.
Yeah, that wasn't dog whistle language. That was just straight up, I'm tired of seeing the master race being killed by Russian bombs. Whoa.
What's funny about that too, Ricky, is that he said that, but he doesn't have blonde hair or blue eyes either, though.
Hitler said the same thing.
Thank you.
Hitler said the same thing. So it's like when you start looking at what this country stands for, they don't want the Western world picking up on the racism that's going on there, because they know that, the woke population, which, they do serve their purpose. You see what I'm saying?
What? And someone said this in the chat room. They said, because black people always put other people before their own. And I was really trying to find this comment that an African subscriber of mine was breaking down how while white people are in Africa, they are put first. Because when my family and I was in Ghana about 2 weeks ago, our driver told us, I'm trying to figure out the way he essentially worded it, but basically he said, hey, don't be discouraged if some of the Ghanaian salesmen run over to white people and bypass you to sell you things. And I was like,
you don't want to be bothered by them anyway.
Right, but not even that. Or if you're in a restaurant and you're there first and white people show up, that they attend to them first. Because when we was in one of their prestigious restaurants in Accra, Ghana, that's exactly what happened. We were sitting down. We saw a white family sitting down. I believe they was of Lebanese descent. They got served first. And we were like, what the? We couldn't just imagine that here we are in the quote-unquote motherland, and people who have colonized your continent for hundreds of years are still put first prior to the people that look like you.
I want you to hear this because my man broke it down this morning. What's his name? Was not Jason Black, Professor Black Truth.
Okay.
But listen to what Joy Reid says. And this was just like weird how she said it.
Others who were in Ukraine studying, and also, just non-Ukrainians from around the world who study in Ukraine not being able to get out. We're just showing some of those pictures right now. And it's created an opportunity for disinformation and for fracturing the united support that there has been for the Ukrainian effort.
We're already starting to see the fracturing across social media where people are saying Ukraine is racist, so why are we supporting them? Or Ukraine is a white country, this is a white problem. And that fundamentally misunderstands Ukrainian history and the ethnographic makeup of Ukraine. Ukraine has Afro-Ukrainians, and these African students are residents of Ukraine. Ukraine is a multicultural, multi-ethnic country, and we have to keep that at the forefront. And yes, these videos that we're seeing at the border are horrifying, but we should also focus on the fact that There are a lot of people on the ground helping, and many of them are getting through and getting to safety. We have to be very careful with how we frame this question, but also to the extent we allow our emotions drive our responses, because Russia will take advantage of this and use it.
Can you pause it, Ricky?
Is that what not Black Lives Matter did?
That's the other black lady when they're talking about let our emotions control our responses. First and foremost, our emotions are not controlling our responses. You know what's controlling our responses? What we are actually seeing.
Right.
And not loading the buses, being prevented to load the buses. We're actually seeing Polarks preventing those African immigrants from even entering the country, where they have to walk 7 hours down to Romania to enter the country. So what the hell is she talking about?
Not only that, but Joy Reid had the audacity to say that Russia could use this as a way to break up the unity. Russia don't have to use it. We see it already. I've been accused this week of being a Russian spy, a Russian operative.
You speak Russian?
Yes.
Let me hear some.
Здравствуйте.
You're a spy. You know some words in Russian. You're a spy, Ricky. I'm getting indoctrinated. No, I'm getting indoctrinated.
They knew all kinds of American songs. Back then, that song, what was that guy's name? I Got the Moves Like Jagger. They could sing this. And it was like they didn't speak a lick of English, but they knew our songs. Now, you talking about Africa, right? And how the way blacks are treated in Africa. Right. When we were in Nairobi, the white boys that was with me, they got laid. They wasn't giving me no play. Soon as we hit Russia, soon as we hit Italy, soon as we hit France, soon as we hit England, it was all about me. And they were looking at me like, damn, Ricky.
Was it because of the BBC?
Yeah.
The British Broadcasting Company?
Yep. It was about the BBC, man. And in Africa, it was like the white boys got to play because they equated whiteness with power.
Exactly.
Where versus in England and Russia, especially, these women just saw something different and strange. And I
spoke about this, Ricky. I talked about how, unfortunately, a lot of Africans, not all, a lot of Africans, their minds are still colonized. This they say we still have post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? As Black Americans, they are still colonized because that has transcended down historically, whether it be tribalism or the invisible, quote unquote, intercontinental lines between the countries. Because before colonization, countries wasn't divided within a region; they had kingdoms. And I believe this is a lot of history that is lost that people don't do the research on. Again, Joy Reid is telling us, forget what you see, listen to us. Because she also stated, don't listen to people with a bunch of subscribers, right? With a bunch of zeros behind their name. You should be going to us to get the information, the true information. Do you mind? I want to play just 3 minutes of this video. I think it's very insightful so we can speak about it.
Okay.
In very trying and troubling times. This little contribution is not about Nigerian politics. It's not about what's happening here alone, but it's about something that will ultimately affect us in a very dramatic way. What is unfolding in the Ukraine is deeply disturbing. But more disturbing is the fact that most Nigerians, most Africans, indeed most people in the world, have not heard the other side of the story from the Russian perspective. There are always two sides to a story. If you go to court and hear just one side, you don't hear the other, you can never administer justice. If you go and listen to what one person says and don't listen to the person that they are referring to has to say about a matter, you will never achieve justice. What is unfolding in the Ukraine, in the West, between Russia and NATO, something that may well end up as a third world war if we are not careful. First of all, you must appreciate the fact that Russia was encircled by NATO, literally. You must also appreciate the fact that they felt that it was unacceptable for the Ukraine to move too close to the West and even to contemplate the idea of having membership of NATO. The minute that happened, that is something that the Russians were bound to react to, And it was getting close to that. Imagine a situation whereby the Russian Federation had nuclear weapons and had a nuclear pact with Canada on the northern borders of America, or had a pact, military pact, and nuclear weapons in Mexico on the southern border of America. Of course, that would be unacceptable to the Americans. Or, for example, if Cuba had the same, the Americans would react in a very dramatic and forceful manner. And nobody would blame them for being forceful in the defense of their own motherland, and also to ensure that they are not able to be wiped off the face of the earth at one stroke because there's a nuclear power right next to them. That is the perspective of the Russians. There's another aspect that a lot of people don't know. Most of eastern Ukraine are peopled by Russian-speaking individuals who want to be part and parcel of the Russian Federation. Remember, there was one country before. They have separatist movements there that are fighting to leave Ukraine and be part of Russia. It's rather like some people in this country believe that Biafra should break off from Nigeria. They have exercised their right of self-determination, so they want to be part of Russia, and they were being slaughtered by the Ukrainian forces, something that the West and the rest of Ukraine turned a blind eye to. You don't see that on CNN. They were being slaughtered on a daily basis. And the Russian Federation felt they needed to go in to protect those people and deliver them. So they took the Crimea, which was traditionally part of Russia, a few years back. Now, after taking the Crimea a few years back, they now focused on Donetsk, which is another region, and one other region, I've forgotten the name now, in eastern Ukraine. And a few days ago, they marched in and literally occupied the place and saved the people that were being slaughtered there from the Ukrainian forces. And then they had to go a step further. Why did they have to do that? They felt threatened by the fact that the Ukrainian president and the Ukrainian government were too close to the West and were about to join NATO, or refused to say that they would never join NATO. And the greatest fear of the Russians is for a country on their direct border to join NATO. That would result in catastrophic things going on.